I came across one of the most insane stories I've seen in a really long time. I want to show it to you. And actually, it's relevant to something we've been talking about. So that's great. But this is Steve Hofstetter. We talked about him before. He's a comedian and he's proudly progressive. And so sometimes whenever MAGA folks are in his audience, he has these really viral exchanges with them. And mostly that just means it's an argument. The show goes on. He shuts them down. The show goes on. But this time, I'm going to spoil the story a little bit. After arguing with this Trump supporter who starts yelling at him, which is always such a strange decision when you're in an audience, especially when with someone like Steve Hofstetter, you know his political views, so you know he's going to say stuff you disagree with if you're a Trump supporter. Why would you scream at him? I don't know. But he gets so bombastic that he's taken out of the club. Then what happens outside of the club, to leave it hanging a little bit, I'll say, leads to him getting arrested. All because he chose to take on Steve Hofstetter. Last time I did a story about him, he commented. So much love to Steve. Let's jump right into this. While you're watching, please do click the subscribe button. I'm saying that knowing that probably by the time you're watching this video, we will have crossed over 1 million subscribers. So we'll keep charging forward to 2, but that's very, very exciting. Here's the beginning of this video. And you can find Steve on YouTube as well.
That might have been the worst human being that's ever been at one of my shows. So North Carolina passed a law that said that you had to use the bathroom of the gender you were assigned at birth. Woo! No! We're going to explore this. So you don't believe in gender-neutral bathrooms?
What?
Oh no, I get that I've already lost you, but...
You haven't been funny for a while, so I'm still trying to catch up.
I haven't been funny for a while? No, that's totally okay. I get it.
About 5 minutes though, but it's all good, because I've liked you on Facebook. It's all good.
You liked me on Facebook. And so, did you like 2 Heckler clips, but you didn't actually understand what I do?
Why are you surprised when you get a response?
I don't know for sure if I'm remembering this correctly, even though I wrote the bit. The exact words I used was North Carolina passed a law that said you could only use the restroom of the gender you were assigned at birth. Now, what part of that to you is a question?
It's not. I'm just a firm believer that that's...
Okay, so again, this is relevant. I won't go through the whole bathroom thing again, but I've explained it. I think, if I do say so myself, in a very logical, not related to any emotions or anything, but why Steve is here, correct on the policy of it. But again, more the, even aside from this guy's personal view on the bathroom debate, is what, I guess a lot of alcohol maybe, but what leads someone to want to shout at a comedian their political views when... You know, I think if you have some self-awareness, this only goes well for the comedian, right? They have the mic and they control the environment and are the ones who have practiced doing this sort of back and forth before. It's not going to go well for you. This one went way worse than I've ever seen with any heckler ever because of it leading to an arrest. But even from what you've seen there, his argument is, well, why are you upset with me if you asked for a response and I gave you one, even though Steve did not ask for a response, as was pointed out there. And I should note, by the way, that this was from over a year ago. But again, given the re-upping by MAGA of the trans bathroom debate, it seems relevant. Then we pick up here.
Hold on a second. Do you think for a fucking second that someone goes through 8 years of hormone treatments and being castigated by society just so they can use a bathroom next to a little girl? I asked him whether or not...
All right, so that's another part of the argument. But then ultimately, the guy just keeps making noise, so he does get kicked out of the club. This happens to hecklers, but he stands up and he leaves.
Get to...
Are okay with little kids?
What I'm trying to tell you is that you picked my show. I didn't pick you, and I would never pick you. And so, this is the show you bought tickets to.
A great point. The guy bought tickets to a show for a comedian who explicitly identifies as progressive. You know he's gonna make jokes that you don't like, and it's funny that it's always MAGA saying, it's a joke, right? Whenever a MAGA comedian says something and liberals get offended, it's always, oh my gosh, you don't get comedy. Don't go to the show if you're going to be a snowflake. But then here, this guy being very much a snowflake. And it gets far worse.
To the women like he's not worth it.
Yeah. So I just tried.
And I should explain. Sorry. So then the guy goes outside, and other people he starts arguing with. One of his arguments was, "You're trans. You have a penis," to a woman who happened not to be trans and didn't have a penis. So it was just kind of a total unraveling out there on the street. They're arguing, and you'll see where that leads.
Tried to de-escalate, sort of get in between everybody. And I talked to the guy, and I was like, "Stop! Let's not take this any further." And then the guy was like, "Thank you, I'm here." And I'm like, "Listen, you're not the victim here, but please go home. Like, it's fine, it's fine." And then he called me fat immediately again.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. You don't agree with me 100%. You fat fuck. And I was like, "Okay, please go home. Still, I did my best, but I'm just too fat to continue to break up this fight."
Oh my god. So the tatted up guy gets right up in the heckler's face, and the heckler takes a swing at him. Fairly pathetic swing, but it's a swing. And that is, I understand tatted up guy shouldn't have been pushing him, but that was not self-defense. Mm-hmm. Self-defense would have been leaving an hour earlier, or any time up until then. Once he takes a swing, the staff says, "We've called the cops." The tatted guy was like, "Oh, I'm getting out of here." So clearly he's got passed. That guy's scattered. Mm-hmm. So he was one of these things, "I can't be arrested a seventh time."
Just like a cartoon, just...
Yeah, there was a cloud of smoke.
So the security, this is being a heckler gone wrong times a gazillion. That's just, I don't know, even if you're drunk, how you don't realize that this is ending poorly. Security is standing there. You throw a punch at someone. Security then has to call the cops, even though before that point, they were just saying, go home. You got kicked out, go home. Now you've thrown a punch, so the police have to come. But then the police come, and even they are saying, you can just go home. The other guy's not here. You shouldn't have hit someone, but go home. And the guy still doesn't, and he's being belligerent with police, and they're begging him, go home, from what I can tell from this video. And so then what happens? Well, the police are forced into this situation.
Good excuse. Good excuse.
They basically say to him, look, just go. Nothing will happen if you just go. They're giving him every opportunity.
But if you refuse to calm down, you're going to be arrested, all right? So at this point, I'll give you an opportunity to walk away. If you want to leave now, you're welcome to leave. But if you refuse to leave, then what's coming?
And he just keeps mouthing off. And so eventually they search him, and they find a metric ton of cocaine. I don't know if it was a metric ton. I'm assuming metric just because it's, we're in Canada. But
yeah, liters of coke.
Yeah, liters of coke. They find a Celsius worth of cocaine.
So then they have to arrest him. What? Think about that. When he wakes up in jail, he's going to think, if I had just not screamed about that trans joke, or not the trans joke, but the North Carolina law joke. That timeline's wild. And you heard him say, I'm not going to leave. I've asked for respect many times. It's similar to the people who say, what, my car is sovereign territory or something. You don't rule over me, police officer, because I am a part of a militia or something. And there, the timeline goes, heckle because you are aggravated at trans people and you start trying to think you can beat the comedian in an argument. You have to leave the club. You keep the debate going with people outside of the club. Start making judgments about who's trans and who's not. You keep engaging in that until you hit somebody. Cops are called. You keep pushing it because you need respect. Put respect into this. And then they find cocaine after giving you every single opportunity to not have to go to jail. But then you force them into it. Sometimes police officers, when people are talking back to them, are oftentimes too quick to jump to, well, I'm going to teach you a lesson, right? In this case, they seemed like they were going to do anything and everything to not have to arrest him. And then when they were forced to arrest him, they find cocaine, and it just got worse for him. Credit to Steve Hofstetter. That is absolutely crazy and very relevant given the current debate. Maybe don't heckle comedians. Let me know what you thought of that in the comments. Quite the story, huh? Support the show by clicking that join button below.